Nice. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name's James. I'm part of Wildfire DAO. And the first request is that if you are interested in DAOs or tokens, you are mentally required to go to my Twitter and retweet what I just posted, which is the announcement of Wildfire DAO, which is Blockchain James on Twitter. And it's a super cool initiative, which hopefully I can give a little bit of context on now, as well as sort of talking a little bit about, it says tokens and DAOs. It should say tokens, DAOs, and humans work together. Oh, is that just going to pop up the whole time? Okay, wait. Let me turn off, let me delete Telegram so I don't get spammed and you don't see all my horrible messages that come up. Nice, okay, we're back. Maybe, oh no. Nice. Cool. So compared to Lane's slides, mine are a lot more shitposty. Here you can see my amazing graphical art, which I've produced, but sort of about the idea of meta governance, where sort of if you think of the future of hopefully not a dystopian evil future, but an infinite garden, sort of that we can build together inside of crypto, then inside of that infinite garden, there needs to be different buildings which are focused on different things, right? Sort of governing inside of these silos that we're currently doing, whether it be, the Aave governance or the Rocket Pool governance or the ENS project or Gitcoin. Right now, a lot of the governance is inside of these silos, right? Which is good because they actually exist, where maybe 3 to 5 years ago there wasn't even anything that existed to govern, which was fantastic, but now there's almost too much to govern. So sort of how do we move forward in a way that isn't just governing a single silo, but is instead sort of being part of a wider governance collective or initiative that can sort of do many things in many different ways. See, here's my amazing art continued. So DAOs are noisy as fuck, right? Right now, whether it be any single DAO you go to has 101 proposals, sort of like on the left there, that Aave example of like every single one of those is actually like a piece of code, right? So even to understand all of the proposals going through Aave, you've got to dig into them, understand what's being submitted, understand who's voting on it, who cares about it, and why you should care about it, how much it's been discussed, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot there, and that's a single project, right? There's Bankless, ENS, Gitcoin, a bunch of others there, and there is another, suite of 20-odd, projects that are actually engaging into governance in a meaningful way, which is again awesome, but it's becoming very heavy for those people involved. So some stats there. $10 billion AUM. I think that's probably actually not considering all of the DAO treasuries, but even still, it's a decent amount of money compared to where we were a few years ago. 5,000 proposals. So like, who thinks that they've tackled, 1% of those, right? Like I don't imagine anyone in this room has sort of been involved with 50 proposals. Total voters, over 70,000. That's a lot of humans pressing buttons, right? Every single one of those is someone who's like rocking up to the website, signing in, pressing vote, then pressing allow, then pressing vote. And it's like that amount of time is just massive. And then, total number of votes, 500,000. Again, thinking about how individual humans are governing these protocols, there is just a lot to do. And within that a lot to do, there's only a limited number of humans, right? So shout out to both Alex and Simona, who sort of play a major governance role inside of both Gitcoin and ENS. But again, that's a massively heavy lift, right? There is only so many projects that these people can engage in before it just becomes impractical to actually participate in more than one project. And not only that, but actually these people have the amazing context, right? Those people that are really far down the rabbit hole of a given project and the way that they're engaging with the governance, they actually know how decentralized governance works. But they can't engage in different projects because they're like already heads down, super engaged in a single project. So I'm sure, like, hands up if your Discord also looks like mine and there's like 100 million messages. Yeah. And so, okay, wait. And so, realistically, nice. Everyone's Discord looks like that, and we are all missing stuff, right? 100%. There are messages that are happening in these Discords that we're just not aware of, and like that sucks, right? There's probably a lot of amazing content there that we actually should be reading, but it's just impractical to sort of focus on it and get to the bottom of it because our Google Calendar looks like this one from 2007, where it's like, how the fuck do I manage, what's going on here? So, how do we solve this? If there is messy governance, it is fantastic that there is actually governance, but it is really messy, and all of the humans are way too over-engaged and sort of can't be across everything. We sort of need to scale up, right? We can't govern inside of these silos. See, again, Look at this amazing art. So imagine how long it took to make these slides. I hope everyone's appreciating that. Silos can't scale, right? So these individual projects that are, sort of in each one of these silos, and sort of like these one-man bands or one-woman bands that are running around participating inside of them, it's awesome that they're doing it, and it's awesome that the silos exist, right? Again, it wasn't that long ago where 2016 we had these amazing grand visions of what the DAO could be and how we could sort of all overlap and all participate. Then we got PTS DAO for a couple of years. Shout out Griff Green for PTS DAO. It's a very good call. And so we didn't touch them for a long time. And then sort of finally we came back, and we actually started using this technology, right? And we started implementing DAOs, doing cool things, and building the community that you see around you that all, most people here probably have some touch points with some type of DAO. Fantastic that the technology exists. But now we need to actually think about how we organize into bigger structures that can actually manage all of these different DAOs. So who recognizes this building? Yay, some people hopefully. So this is the Colorado State Capitol, which is just down the road from here. And this is a giant building with like gold leaf on the top of it that looks super fancy, and there's just shitloads of humans inside of it that are all coordinating governance, right? Now, admittedly, some of the ways they coordinate governance might kind of be bad vibes, right? And maybe we don't want to copy that exact structure. But some of the ways they're coordinating governance are really important, right? Like looking at how people vote and looking at how different senators, or I'm not even sure how the system works enough, but looking at how these different, like participants inside of the system are actually voting, right? What do they care about? What are their staff learning about? What is being discussed in some meeting? And actually correlating that information into a single place so that then those people that are delegates, those people that are governors, are able to, communicate about it in a meaningful way. Where right now we have none of this infrastructure, right? Again, a couple of years ago, there wasn't even anything to govern, and it's only now that we're getting to the stage that there is. And so sort of how can we take these learnings from these bigger traditional governance and sort of build the idea of a governance meta liaison, right? The traditional governance world has the idea of a governance liaison, which is just collating information and putting it into a digestible format for these governors to participate. So sort of how can we build that same structure with less gold leaf fancy buildings and more, cool communities that can actually push forward? How can we do that, right? Hopefully, it's through squads governing squads of projects, rather than individual humans governing individual projects. So shout out to Mystic Whales and Triforce DAO, which are sort of two newish initiatives, which are sort of just squads of people that are trying to participate in different protocols and sort of solving problems and acting as touch points for the governance world. Here you can see where we dressed up for Halloween as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that's me, Cooper, Callum, and Lucas, which are the 4 members of FireEyes. And so what we wanted to launch, what we just launched today, like literally 10 minutes before we came in here, was the Mirror article and the tweet storm, which was announcing the Wildfire DAO. And what the Wildfire DAO is effectively exactly that. So there you can see sort of DeFi projects, Aave, Element Balancer, public goods projects, ENS, Gitcoin, creator economy projects, SuperAir, PleaserDAO, and Bankless, and then infrastructure and tooling, so Pocket, Rocket Pool, and DAOhouse. And all of these projects FireEyes has been really involved in sort of the participation and a lot of the launching of these tokens, which is great. But again, now that we've launched 10, 15 odd projects, the 4 of us cannot compete, right? We cannot be engaged in the governance process in a meaningful way. And so sort of what do we do next, right? So this idea of Wildfire DAO is basically that we do an open call to anyone. So hopefully many of you here that think this is a cool idea can go in, join the Discord, fill out the Google form, and then we're going to do basically one-on-one calls with everyone, vet people, find out who's cool, who has great vibes, who has an understanding of governance, and even if you don't have an understanding of governance, if you have some sort of specific attribute which is going to be really valuable to this collective, or you're a partner project which wants to try and get involved in it, join the Discord and sort of help build this meta-governance organization. So yeah, so Wildfire DAO is basically exactly that. We are trying to build many humans that can be this governance liaison for these different projects inside of it, and have many more squads of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatever other type of Pokemon that you want to sort of associate with that can be your squad. So again, look at these amazing graphics. Very important. And actually on the left, right there, you can see, so that's Orca protocol and sort of the way that pods work inside of Orca. So for those that don't know, Orca is a really cool protocol which is coming up and developing pods, and there's sort of 2 cool things in the way that FireEyes is going to use that. One of them is the way that we want to sort of have so we have a lot of vote weight for these projects that we've launched inside of them, but actually us just voting on the outcomes that we think are cool isn't the end state, right? What's way cooler is if we can instantiate these groups that are sort of governing meta-governance categories, right? So DeFi, public goods, etc. And then actually they can vote with our token weight. So let's say that everyone inside of that group, the 5, 10 odd people, all have to say yes, no on different votes, and then actually FireEyes doesn't even get to vote, right? We sort of get our votes delegated to this wider group, which can actually end up implementing them. So that's the way that we want to use pods to vote. And then on the flip side, the way we want to distribute capital down is FireEyes to be able to have this treasury. So we've committed 200K to the Wildfire DAO to sort of like kickstart this, and we expect that to grow significantly. But that's the initial kickoff. We want to sort of spend these 200K of governance tokens and give them out to the people that are sort of contributing to these different meta governance collectives. And so sort of a really big point of FireEyes initially is we are not a consulting company, right? We are shitposters that get on calls for maybe 6 to 12 months before a token project launches and sort of help them on that journey and sort of what are the next steps to do. And so, the entire point was that we never wanted to be this eternal fire, right? We wanted to actually, create a real blast and then connect the right people. And so ENS, Super Rare, Gitcoin, there's projects that we all worked on. And throughout that whole experience, it's not that we are the smartest people in the room or that team is the smartest person in the room, right? It's that how do we build the tools and the community and the communication so that we can find the smartest person in the room who's sitting in the corner of Poland or New Zealand or Australia or the US or someone that isn't connected directly to the project but has an amazing idea of how the project could be improved. How do we give them the incentives and the tools so that they can participate and they can build out this with themselves and actually get them on board to the project so they can write a proposal that completely changes how the project works. And that is an incredibly exciting opportunity, and that's, I think, a big opportunity that Web3 has, is to sort of make these smaller connections that actually end up changing these projects massively. And so that's where the candle going out comes from, is eventually, FireEyes can sort of create and empower enough of these other governance squads that they are doing things well beyond what we ever could have coordinated ourselves. And then Mario can jump and level up, and hopefully like our DAOs can become significantly more practical and not 500, like everyone's Discord doesn't have to look like this, right? And actually we can just communicate these things through larger organizations. So yeah, that's basically most of what I had. Again, another amazing clip art photo. So there's the Wildfire Discord there and the Wildfire article there. It might be quite hard to like individually scan QR codes, but also Blockchain James on Twitter, and it'll have everything there. But really wanted to sort of like leave quite a lot of time. Again, hopefully this is an exciting initiative to many of you, and so wanted to like leave quite a lot of time to sort of open to questions on what you guys think about. Is this a good idea? Do you want to join it? How could you add value? So yeah.